Good morning, YouTube. How you guys doing today? I find it interesting that I didn't even get my notification. Anyway, good morning, everybody. So I want to come on real quick and break down last night's farce of a presidential debate, if you want to call it that. Good morning, Renee. Good morning, Kingsman and Miss Olivia and everyone. Thanks for coming early, cause folks on my job are getting on my nerves. Need to tune them out. I know that's right, Kingsman. The child YouTube miraculously didn't send out my notifications as they normally do. I guess because we're not talking about the mess on here that we talk about pretty much in this sector. But overall, in my opinion, if you watch last night's presidential debate, it reminded me of a beef sector event or a beef sector video, because it was a whole farce last night. It was a whole joke when it came to what they were calling a presidential debate. And I want to come on and break down one part of the presidential debate in particular. I wanted to talk about, there were, in the first place, when you're having a presidential debate, when two candidates are running for the office of the presidency of the United States of America, they are supposed to be putting forth their agendas for the upcoming presidential term. Last night, what we got was two patriarchal white males pretty much brawling and being petty, and spewing ad hominem attacks against one another. Nothing, we heard nothing about what they intend to do for this country in this upcoming election. And much of that was because our sitting president, Donald Trump, he devolved into name calling. He was shouting out lies the whole time. He was interrupting. He didn't have no chill. Okay, he does not care, in my opinion, anything about the topics, the issues that we are facing, including the coronavirus pandemic. What he chose to do was deflect, deflect, deflect. That is what we saw last night. And as Americans, black, white, blue, or green, hey, Fed, we should be embarrassed of what we saw last night, in my opinion. We should be embarrassed that the president of the United States of America, the sitting president right now, is acting like a petulant child. Okay, he threw a whole temper tantrum last night, and because he threw a whole temper tantrum last night, Joe Biden got triggered. Joe Biden got triggered when he launched those ad hominem attacks against his children. And that is unprecedented as well. But moreover, what I found very disturbing was the president refused to denounce these white supremacy hate groups. And that is very indicative of President Donald Trump, because we know that the number one tool that he has in his toolbox is division. And because he is using that toolbox, that thing called division, to divide this country, to rip this country apart, he could not he refused, should I say, to denounce these hate groups. And that's very unfortunate. You see what I'm saying? He is the reason why this country is pretty much on fire right now. Good morning, Lori. How you doing? He is the reason why. And he is the reason why, because he is the sitting president. He could have, with one word last night, if he chose to denounce these hate groups, a lot of the violence and protesting and rioting that we're seeing in this country. Good morning, Cloud. That we're seeing in this country right now could have, grind to a halt. But instead, he chose to uplift these white supremacy hate groups, these far right, as he called it, hate groups. He pretty much, shouted out a battle cry, in my opinion. Do you see what I'm saying? What he did was absolutely out of line. It was uncalled for. Instead of him denouncing these white supremacy hate groups, he told the Proud Boys to stand back and stand ready. That is what he said. So what I wanted to do what I want to do this morning is kind of play some audio of what he said, and then pretty much give my reaction to it. Like, I don't see how any black person in America right now could be supporting this Donald Trump. But there are a lot of black conservatives, if you will, even though this man is clearly a white supremacist, they are still supporting him. Like, what is wrong with us that we can't unite even under the banner of our own protection? That is very unfortunate to me. Do you see what I'm saying? He told the Proud Boys to stand back and stand ready. Wow. Okay, what else do you need to know, black people? What else do you need to hear that is going to convince you that this president right here has to go? He needs to go. And we don't have, now we heard Joe Biden last night. Uh Whoo, child. I just was disappointed in him as well. Do you see what I'm saying? But at least he did. He couldn't even speak. We don't even know what he would have said. We couldn't even get any uh, uh valid responses from Joe Biden because Trump kept interrupting him. Do you see what I'm saying? And a lot of people are not used to sparring back and forth with madness, and that's what's going on. What we needed last night was somebody like I guess like an Obama or something, somebody that could shout down all of this nonsense. But he called him a clown. He told him to shut up. You see what I'm saying? Biden was triggered, and you can't. And it's unfortunate that he was triggered, because he really didn't show, in my opinion, any type of leadership either. And that's unfortunate. Do you see what I'm saying? Which is why I don't understand, what is the thinking of the country right now? Because you still have a large percentage of the country that are supporting Donald Trump. Donald Trump, in my opinion, he needs to go by any means necessary. He is destroying his country. He is ripping his country apart by the seams. Do you see what I'm saying? Good morning, Miss Cruiser. And so anyway, what I'm going to do, because I'm not trying to hold you guys long this morning. These videos are not, very popular, but it has to be talked about. It has to be talked about because I have even heard videos this morning before I came on of black people supporting him when he starts talking about the suburbs, for instance. We heard all of this and all of that there, but not knowing that you're supporting a white supremacy mindset when you go to talk about suburbs. A lot of people say, hey, Truth, how you doing? They don't. A lot of black people, because they are at a higher socioeconomic status than the majority of black people, they support Trump under the basis of things like the suburbs, things like dividing pretty much and conquering us as a black people. They stand on Trump's side because they are being very selfish. But when you are talking about black people in America, you cannot afford to be selfish. We know that we are the underclass. We are at the bottom rung. Okay, we are just slightly above the Hispanics, and the Hispanics are in favor of Trump. Why are they in favor of Trump? Because why are they in favor of the Republicans, should I say? They're in favor of the Republicans because they are against socialism. So what Trump tried to do last night was play up Biden and the Democrats as being socialists, when actually they're not socialists at all. And even bigger than that, the problem here is, as black people, we are refusing to. Good morning, Brenda. We are refusing to unite under our own banner. Neither one of these presidents, the Biden, the former vice president, or Trump, neither one of these people are for us. And what we don't realize is that, good morning, NYW, is that when you hear Donald Trump say something like close the border, okay, we know that the Hispanics would, the Latinos, if you will, have come in and taken a lot of jobs that black people used to do. They're in a couple of years, they are going to, it's going to be more of them in this country than it is us or even white people. Okay, so you have to stand back and watch what's going on here. We are not taking into consideration that they are bucking for our spot. Do you see what I'm saying? And they're going to overtake our spot. Why? Because they are united on one front and we are divided. We cannot come together. That is a problem. That is a problem. And that is really what I wanted to talk about today, because last night, really, there's nothing to break down. There's nothing to break down because we didn't get a clear picture on any talking points. All they were doing was shouting down one another. They could have did this in the beef sector. Okay? They didn't have to do this in front of the world because this is an embarrassment. This is an embarrassment to the United States of America. And anybody supporting supporting Trump right now, you are an embarrassment, especially if you are black and in the United States of America. Okay? Renee 19 said, hold on a minute, y'all. No, first Klaus said Chris Wallace, who moderated that fiasco last night, did a poor job. I don't even. He did do a poor. I think he did the best he could do. How do you moderate against a crazy man? Donald Trump ain't got no chill. He don't care what nobody say. That man did what he could do. And at a certain point in the debate, it was the moderator against Trump, not even Biden. Biden wasn't even in on the argument. He had to tell him at one point, "Do you want to take my seat?" It's nothing that he could do. Poor job moderating. Of course, he's from Fox News. Trump was just being Trump. He's playing to his fan base. But what can you do? See, there were 3 people in the room. 2 of those people were adults. Trump is a child. He's a freaking maniac. He don't have no chill. He don't listen to nobody. See, this is what white privilege will do to you. Okay? Money and white privilege breeds this type of monster. That is what we saw, in my opinion. It's nothing that he could do. Not really. Trump ain't listening to nobody. Nobody. You know, he don't even listen to his own people. You know, and that's unfortunate. But anyway, I'm getting off course already. But like I said, we're going to listen to some audio. When you have a president of the United States of America that refuses to denounce white supremacist hate groups, is there any reason why this country is in the condition that it's in right now? He refuses to acknowledge he failed to properly combat the coronavirus pandemic. You just what Joe Biden should have did as it pertains to the coronavirus pandemic, in my opinion, he should have called him out on that. He couldn't even do that. He couldn't even question him properly on that because Trump was on purpose interrupting him. On purpose interrupting him. He don't want to be called to the carpet on his own failures. He want to blame this failing economy on Barack Obama. Barack Obama is not the president of the United States anymore. All of this stuff falls on him. Joe Biden should have been calling him out on him. When he starts slinging that mud at Joe Biden, he should have started slinging the truth. That's what he should have started doing. Yeah, that's what he should have started doing. I'm sorry. That's right. Joe Biden, he couldn't speak at all. A lot of people are not used to that type of nonsense. Do you see what I'm saying? He just pretty much pounced on the man. You know, a lot of people are not used to dealing with people that are so uncivilized and straight up crazy. You know, he was rude and obnoxious, constantly interrupting because he had no answers. He did what he did best: cause chaos and mayhem and wreak havoc. That is what he's doing in this country on a day-to-day basis. That is why he refuses to denounce a white supremacy hate group such as the Proud Boys. We now know who is the supreme leader over the KKK, the Proud Boys, the Promise Keepers, and every other white supremacist militia and hate group in the United States of America. We now know who the leader is, okay? The leader is the one that refused to denounce them, which is Donald Trump. That's the leader. That is his army. So when you hear him say something like, if I lose the election, it won't be a peaceful transfer of power. Because he wants to burn this country to the ground before he loses his seat. That don't make no sense to me. That don't make no sense. Cloud said, Lester Holt did a better job in moderating when Trump challenged Hillary Clinton. She was much too passive. Biden was slightly more assertive. Ironically, Kamala Harris is more equipped than. Yes, it would be very. I'm glad you said that, Cloud, because I think that Kamala Harris would have done a better job debating Donald Trump. I really do. I really do, because as women in general, we are better at arguing. So she would have done better. Now it'll be interesting to see how she's going to perform against Mike Pence. Okay, if you guys can hear me, hit the 1. Can you guys hear me? Miss Travelocity says she can't hear me. She says there's no sound. Hit the 1 if you can hear me before I keep talking. Biden did not come strong enough to do what needed to be done. No, he didn't. He didn't, unfortunately. How could he? So you guys can hear me? Okay. Well, Miss Travelocity, if you can, well, I guess you gotta fix her thing. I don't know. Thank you guys for letting me know that y'all can hear me. Okay. Anyway, I got locked off my kilter. So anyway, I'm gonna stop reading these comments and I'm gonna play this audio because we can't be on here all day this morning. Y'all got stuff to do. I got stuff to do. But thanks for letting me know that y'all can hear me. So let me cue this audio, and we're just gonna break it down because I came on here to speak to us melanated people as it pertains to this election. You know, we don't have a presidential candidate that is appropriate to lead us. We don't know this, but my thing is, I don't understand why so many people, so many black people, are agreeing with anything that Donald Trump has to say. Anything just based on the just as it pertains to safety to black people in this country. How can you defend Donald Trump? How can you call yourself a black Republican, conservative, or whatever they call themselves? Because don't you know when they come for you if you are a black man in America, you support Donald Trump. When you're driving down the street and they stop your car, they can shoot and kill you just as well. They're not going to not kill you just because you say, well, hold up, don't kill me. I'm a black man, but I'm a Trump supporter. No, honey, your life is in danger. They're not going to stop and ask you who you're voting for. They're not going to do that. That is not going to happen. Hopefully the next debate, they will be able to shut the mics off, but Trump will never. No, he would never agree to that. I lost my spot. He would never agree to that because he ain't about nothing but chaos. He is not presidential at all. And everybody in the United States of America should be embarrassed this morning. You should be embarrassed of Donald Trump because he's a petulant child. He needs to be set in the corner. He needs to be spanked and set in the corner. In a corner. I just don't understand that. But anyway, let's listen to what he said, because what he said, all black people need to pay attention. Like, do you not get what's going on here? He is literally dividing this country on the color line. And some black people are siding with this white supremacy ideology. Like, how could you do that? Even when it comes to, like I said, what they call the middle class or the suburbs. You can't think collectively. You are working against your own best interest when you feed it into this notion of the suburbs. Do you know that the history of the suburbs? You think because you live in the suburbs, or your socioeconomic status allows you to be out of the quote unquote ghetto, that is somehow uplifting you or protecting you. But what you don't know, that the suburbs were set up in order to uplift everyday white Americans, to help them garner generational wealth, to keep the foot on your neck. They made it easier for white Americans to move into these suburbs, and made it easier for them to buy their homes, which is a form of generational wealth. Made their schools better because they got you in these inner city urban areas contained to where they don't have to teach you anything at all. They don't have to give you any help when it comes to garnering generational wealth. They don't want you to own any land, so they want to keep you in these slums. See, that is what the suburbs are set up for. But you're talking about, well, I don't agree. I don't agree with ADOS. I don't agree with reparations because they're going to make the middle class, which is invisible. There is no middle class in this country anymore. There is rich and there is poor. But you don't support reparations because they're going to tax the middle class. Like, what do you mean you don't support reparations? That is ridiculous. Now now there are different levels to reparations. I don't agree with just giving people, just cutting the check. This country doesn't have enough money or gold to back money to pay the reparations, the pay of what is owed to Black Americans, the descendants of slaves. This country does not have enough money. So what can you do? You can do other things in lieu of just cutting the check. Because if you just cut the check, those reparation monies are going to do nothing but go back into these white-owned businesses, these white corporations. That is another thing, getting back to the issue of the suburbs. We know that we really don't own nothing in this country. We own no big business in this country. We don't have any Black-owned corporations to support. So your money, if you were given monetary reparations, would go back to them anyway. But they don't even want to deal with that. If you are still considered 3/5 of a human being, how can you support anything that this racist says? Anything that's coming out of his mouth? How can you support it? It's ridiculous. A lot of people were saying that Joe Biden should refuse to debate Donald Trump again. A lot of people are saying that. Unfortunately, I don't agree with that because it's only going to make him look weak. It's going to make it seem like Joe Biden was running from the bully. So he kind of has to suffer through it. Do you see what I'm saying? He kind of has to suffer through it. Another thing, the Latinos felt like Trump did a great job last night. They agree with his machismo. Do you see what I'm saying? A lot of Black men like Trump because of his ignorant ass. They think that they are seeing an alpha male. We know that a lot of Black men in this country, for a whole lot of reasons, are emasculated. So when they see somebody like a Donald Trump with all his rah-rah, they consider that, an alpha male trait. And so they are enamored by that. And that's unfortunate because that is not, he is weak. He is not strong. He is a petulant child. That's what he is. And he's destroying this country. But when you see something like that, and you hear him, claiming that he's bucking the system. What did he say? He was draining a swamp or something like that. He's not doing it at all. He's not doing it at all. He is only twerking for his own best interest. That's all he's doing, pretty much. Biden appeared to me as if he has had I don't think he's had a mini stroke. He didn't appear to me like that at all. He appeared to be frustrated to me. That's what he appeared to be to me. Frustrated. He's not used to having to deal with all of that. A lot of people aren't used to dealing with all of that. They should have Trump. They should have. I agree. They should have cut his mic. Klaus said, I agree. Auntie Biden would look scared of Trump. Yeah, he got to debate him. He don't have a choice. He don't have a choice. He can't run. He don't want to run. I'm not saying that he want to run. I'm saying it's going to look like he's running from the big bully if he refuses to debate him again. Biden was trying to be nice. He needs to roll up his sleeves and get his hands dirty. Well, unfortunately, he did that last night when he called him a clown. He told him to shut up. That's just rolling around in the mud. That's not presidential. But I like a couple of times when Biden, he looked at the camera and he talked to the American people. Trump didn't do that one time. He couldn't even do that when they were talking about the global pandemic that he tried to downplay, and he continues to downplay. Now, see, Biden should have asked him, in reference to the coronavirus pandemic, why did you, as soon as you got into office, we know that he tried to dismantle everything that, Obama had placed, including the pandemic task force. Why did you dismantle that task force? Why did you do that? Why did you refuse to close the borders immediately? Months before, the coronavirus hit this country so bad. Why did you refuse to close the borders? In February, you could have closed the borders. In February, you still had people coming from China, the Asian continent, all over, not just China, the whole Asian continent. You refused to stop those flights. Why did you refuse to do that? That's what Biden should have stuck him on. See, he should have stuck to his failures and not get triggered. But Biden got triggered. You know, that's right. Name calling won't do nothing. He got triggered. You know, and he couldn't think. But all he had to do was stick to Trump's rhetoric. He should have let him hang himself. When they start talking about race in America, he should have just let him talk. Just let him talk. Let him destroy himself. That's what he should have done. And now, because he refused to denounce the Proud Boys, they are praising, these white supremacist groups are praising Donald Trump. He's giving them the green light. Stand by. What, stand down? Was it stand down and stand ready or something like that? What did he say? Let me see what he said. I don't want to misquote him. Yeah, stand back and stand by. Like, how was that presidential? He is on purpose, even when it comes to the forest fires in California. You know, he claimed that the fires is due to a lack of management. The fires that are going on in California are due to lack of management, a lack of the what do you call it, the forestry division or something like that. Lack of management. That is a federal funded. These national parks are federally funded. Biden should have asked him, why aren't you doing better to contain these wildfires? Because it's a federal organization. The forestry, the forestry division or whatever, that's what I'm going to call it. That is a federally funded organization. You dang near got the whole state of California on the brink of burning down. What are you doing about that? You see what I'm saying? There's a whole lot of things he could have called him on, but because he was triggered, he didn't call him on any of that. You know. And are y'all watching this whole, now see, when it comes to, before I play this tape, when it comes to the issue of immigration in America, people need really need to watch and see what's going on. I was trying to mention it earlier, but I'm done and triggered just by having a conversation. My voice done got louder and everything. Because it's ridiculous, like what's going on. I could have debated Donald Trump and did a better job if he just want to shout obscenities. If he don't want to talk about the issues. He doesn't know anything about the issues. He is incompetent. And people are still supporting him. Like I don't understand. You know. He just He doesn't even know that he is over. He rules. He stop taking away from. Stop taking money away from these divisions, like the forestry divisions, and maybe they could combat these things like these wildfires on a greater level, in an appropriate manner. You won't give them proper funding. Why didn't Biden call him out on that? He doesn't know anything about climate control, which affects all of us. It don't make no sense. I think that was planned to let him talk. Kamala is going to be pushed back during her debate. Her Twitter was pushing back on that law and order. I don't understand, Andrea. Marsh Baby said he did a terrible job with the response on Puerto Rico. Yeah, and the Caribbean islands, tossing that. Yeah, tossing the paper to he is a fool. He is a straight fool. Okay? That's right, Shell. Trump ran the biggest con in our history by becoming president. He sure did. He sure did, because he got a good talk game. Them white folks elected him. You know why? Because there was a knee-jerk reaction to Obama being president for 8 years. That is how we ended up with a Donald Trump. Because this country is founded on freaking racism. And it kills me that black people help fuel that fire of racism because of your white supremacy ideology and talking points. Because you want to assimilate so bad into this failed system of patriarchy, which we witnessed last night. It is beyond me. It is beyond me. So Travelocity said, I think Biden is the same as 4 years ago in reference to Minnesota. Well, now see, I disagree. I disagree. I disagree. I think that you're a Trump supporter, and I disagree. And let me get you out of my thing, because this is what we're not gonna do. We're not gonna change the topic here. So I'm at okay. Hold on a minute, y'all. Hold on. Cloud, can you remove Miss Travelocity from my platform, please? Because I'm not gonna do this today. This is what we're not gonna do. Anyway, let's listen to some of this. I'm gonna stop right here. Law and order shouldn't come out of Trump's mouth. No, it shouldn't. No, it shouldn't. I agree with that. Yeah, she is spitting off Fox talking points. It's clearly a troll. Klaus said Ronald Reagan brought crack and HIV in our communities, and he was infinitely more presidential than Orange Face. Miss T isn't a troll. I don't know what she is, but I don't like her talking points, so she got to go. She is a content creator in the beef steak. Okay. Well, I disagree with her talking points. She can go to her channel, since she is a content creator in the beef sector, and spew all of that white supremacy ideology that she want to. But see, her on my platform, I get to rule the roost over here. Do you see what I'm saying? So she can go over there and do whatever it is that she got to do. But this is my show over here. This is the Oracle's show over here. No disrespect to you, Miss Travelocity, but we just disagree politically, because it is about so much more than Biden's mental capacity. Even what Trump was saying, because at the end of the day, what are we going to do for us as a people? That's my issue. Biden is a stutterer. He gets his words jumbled. That doesn't mean he's suffering mental decline. And then he's older. They are both old. They are old white men. They're both old white men. Donald Trump is crazy as hell. He used to argue and he used to fighting. That's what he used to doing. Joe Biden, he's not used to that level of rah-rah. That is why he kept getting thrown off and triggered last night. And so, yeah. But I'm not going to give Donald Trump any talking points. I'm not going to give him no points when it came to his performance last night, because I was not freaking impressed. I was not impressed. I wish it was me debating his ass, because I was shouting his ass all the way down. All the way down. If this how he gonna do it, this how you gonna do? I'm not. We can do this over here on the B channel. The hell? Anyway, let me play this for y'all, okay? Because I don't want to go over an hour today. It's weird. The whole thing is weird. I just wish somebody could answer to me why black people are supporting all of this shit. Anyway, let's continue.
You have repeatedly criticized.
I have to answer his.
You have repeatedly. No, you've been talking.
You made a statement.
I'm asking you.
I would love to end it.
Sir.
I would love to end it.
If you want to switch seats,
we could very quickly.
We can do that. But
I'd send in the National Guard. It would be over. There'd be no problem.
Okay.
But they don't want to accept the National
Guard. Do y'all see that? He can't even respect the moderator. He is a petulant child. Like, I don't understand. Anyway. Guess he dragged Biden's son. What does Joe Biden's son have to do with Joe Biden? His sons are grown. What about his sons? He don't want nobody to talk about his son. He talking about Joe Biden. Pretty much docs Joe Biden's son. Hey, ass April. Well, he used to be on drugs. Okay, so he said he got clean. What does that have to do with Joe Biden running for the office of the presidency of the United States? What does that have to? What about his son was high on camera during the Republican National Convention? See, Joe Biden should have threw it right back at him. He was clearly high, clearly, or drunk, or something, or both. It don't make no sense. Right to be told said, I kept saying, What you kept saying? Trump took notes from the beef sector. Okay, child. Yeah, I would have lost my cool too because the man was triggered. You know what I mean? He was triggered. He started talking about his family. You know, but if you're presidential, you have to overcome that. You can't allow this clown to trigger you. That's not going to work. You have to hit him back with the facts. You have to hit him back with his deficits. You have to call to the carpet the fuckery that has incurred under his administration. That's what you have to do. You can't be triggered. So hopefully he'll do better next time. But anyway, y'all, let's continue. Sorry about that.
You have repeatedly criticized the vice president for not specifically calling out Antifa and other left-wing extremist groups. But are you willing tonight to condemn white supremacists and militia groups and to say that they need to stand down and not add to the violence in a number of these cities, as we saw in Kenosha and as we've seen in Portland?
Sure,
are you
I'm
prepared
willing to
to
do
specifically
that, but
do it?
I
Well,
would say almost everything I see is from the left wing, not from the right
So
wing.
what are you saying?
I'm willing to do anything. I want to see peace.
Then do it, sir.
Say it. Do it. Say it. You want to call him? What do you want to call him? Give me a name. Give me a
White
name.
supremacists and
Who would you like me to condemn?
white supremacists and right
Proud
militia.
Boys, stand back and stand by. But I'll tell you what. Somebody's got to do something about Antifa and the left, because this is not a right-wing problem. This is a left-wing. This is a left-wing problem.
White supremacists. Antifa's an idea, not an organization.
Oh, you got it.
Not militia. That's what his tonight.
That is bullshit. If you are black in America, when he refused to denounce white supremacy in these Proud Boys and whoever else, and he told them to stand back and stand by, you should have immediately started denouncing him. Let's listen to that again. Because do you understand what he's saying? Child. Hey, femininity. Hey, DOD. Hey, everybody. MDE. I think I said Shell already. On-site April. Thanks, everybody, for joining me. Okay, let's listen to this again, because I was absolutely appalled by this. You haven't had such a openly racist president in office since at least the McCarthy era or something like that? I mean, like, child. Hold on, let me rewind it a little bit. I want to hear this again.
You have repeatedly criticized.
You have to answer his
You have repeatedly. You've been talking back and forth.
Statement.
I'm asking you.
I would love to end it.
Sir.
I would love to end it.
If you want to switch seats, we can
very quickly.
We can do that. But
the National Guard, it would be over. There'd be no problem.
Okay.
But they don't want to accept the National Guard.
You have repeatedly criticized the vice president for not specifically calling out Antifa and other left-wing extremist groups. But are you willing tonight to condemn white supremacists and militia groups and to say that they need to stand down and not add to the violence in a number of these cities, as we saw in Kenosha and as we've seen in Portland?
Sure,
are you
I'm
prepared
willing to
to
do
specifically
that, but
do it?
I would say almost everything I see is from the left wing, not from the right wing.
What does he mean by almost everything that he sees is by the left wing? You know what he's saying when he says that? He's saying almost everything that I see, all the violence and the rioting that I see is coming from Antifa and Black Lives Matter. That's what he's saying. That is a lie. You see these people like the Proud Boys and the KKK and the Promise Keepers or whatever they are. All of these white militia hate groups. You have them down there stirring trouble. When you have people peacefully protesting, then you have white people from the left and the right inciting all the violence. And you have the black people, moreover, peacefully protesting. So he's lying. He's flat out lying. Anyway, let's continue.
So what are you saying?
I'm willing to do anything. I want to see peace.
Then do it, sir.
Say it. Do it. Say it.
You'll say it.
You want to call him? What do you want to call him? Give me a name.
White supremacists and right supremacists and right
Proud Boys, stand back and stand by. But I'll tell you what. Somebody's got to do.
You hear that? Well, what do you want to call him? He said, I want you to call them white supremacists. Then he had to break it down. Well, which group? Thanks for the super chat, DMyCat 4. Thank you. What do you mean? Why do you have to give them an individual name? I don't understand. You're supposed to condemn white supremacy. If you would have did that, you could have cut the violence in half. Instead, he incited more violence. He incited more division. That's what he did. Well, what do you want to call him? He said, well, which division of white supremacy do you want me to call out? Then the guy said, the Proud Boys, which we know that they are going to these protests and riot gear and guns and paintball guns, inciting violence, starting the drama. The Proud, well, okay, I will tell them to stand back and stand ready. What do you mean by stand back and stand ready? That is ridiculous. You want them to calm down a bit, but be on alert. So when I call you to attack again, you're gonna immediately be ready. Is that what he's saying? Well, what do you want me to do? Of course I'll shout down these white supremacist race groups. Then why you didn't do that? Why didn't you do that? Let's listen to some more of this.
Something about Antifa and the left, because this is not a right-wing problem. This is a left. This is a left-wing problem.
White supremacist. Antifa's an idea, not an organization.
Now let me stop by there. He starts talking about, well, he starts spinning these what do you call that? The anonymous whatever the conspiracy theorists, the right-wing groups against the left-wing groups, right? You're making this political, all right? What about the American people? What about at the bottom, at the genesis of these protests that are going on around the country? The genesis is racism. But you are not even willing to call out these white supremacy organizations. Because the reason why they're protesting in the first place is because of your right-wing group called the police department, killing black people at will, gunning them down like they're hunting them. So why don't you shout that down? If you really want to bring peace, instead, you're not worried about the American people. You're worried about the right wing and the left wing. It's ridiculous. Ridiculous.
Opposition. That's what his FBI, his
Gentlemen,
director said.
Well, then you know what?
No, we're done, sir. We're moving on to the next. We're
When
moving.
a bat hits you over the head, that's not an idea.
Everybody in
Antifa
your
is
administration tells you the truth has a bad idea.
Can I tell you what?
You have no ideas.
Antifa is a dangerous
All right,
radical
gentlemen, we're
group.
now moving on to the crime.
Antifa is a dangerous radical group, but the Proud Boys are not. Right? Right? The Proud Boys are not a dangerous radical group. But Antifa is, though. You see how that works? When it comes to black people, Antifa and these white supremacy militia groups are dangerous to black people. Because they are only wreaking wreaking havoc and tearing this country apart. Why aren't you talking about that? Black people don't have no business being a part of Antifa or Donald Trump's camp. We are slap dab in the middle of all of this nonsense. You should not be taken aside. But we are the ones that are being blamed for the rioting and as well as the protesting. We're the ones that's being blamed. And we are not the one inciting it in the first place. He don't even care about the American people in general. You know, he did sound the whistle for him. I agree with that, Locust Queen. I agree. He absolutely sounded the whistle for him. Stand back and stand ready. See, he is willing to tear this country apart. Hey, Brent. Willing to tear this country apart. Because he's not getting his way. You having a whole temper tantrum. It don't make no sense. We don't have no business engaging in this nonsense. No business. Antifa are the attackers that are killing people, and we are the ones who need to denounce Antifa. Antifa, as well as the Proud Boys, are killing people. They are both killing people. We don't have to denounce. We have to denounce all of it. We never uplift our own best interests. We never do that. That is the problem. Black people should not be worried about the far right or the far left. That don't have nothing to do with us. You know why it don't have nothing to do with us? Because you got a whole bunch of crazy ass white people arguing for who it is, what white group, left or right, is going to run this country in the next 4 years. What we have to do is decide, which one of these white males is going to run this country instead of burning it in the ground. And we don't have good picks on either side because none of them advocate for us. Neither one of them. But you have to get Donald Trump out of here no matter what. Because he is dangerous to black people. He is dangerous to black people because he puts a battery in the back of these white supremacy groups like the Proud Boys. He puts a battery in their back. That's all he was doing last night, putting a battery in their back. Like, I don't understand. I mean, it's neither for me too, but if you don't vote at all, here's the thing. If you don't vote at all, that's a vote for Donald Trump. Yes, he did go to rule. Yes. Did he say if he loses, there won't be a piece of trade? Absolutely. And what do you think he means by that? What do you think he means? 4 people was arrested outside of the convention center last night where they were holding the debate. There were 4 people, 4 Trump supporters arrested last night. That's what he means by not agreeing to a peaceful transition. He's going to set the white supremacists loose. Then what are you going to do, black people? What are you going to do then? You got people like, what is her name? Andrea Stanton and all those people in support of Trump. What are you going to do then? We can't even come together to protect our own. That's right. The macaque says only going to get worse because the whites are becoming the minority. 2050 Hispanics will be the majority. Absolutely. You're absolutely right about that. Why do you think that you can't even trust them when they're talking about, when Trump starts talking about, I want to close the borders and I want to build a wall? That's a lie. No, you don't. What you want to do is see the Democrats. Now check this T right here. When you hear the Republicans, what Trump talking about, well, we want to build a wall. We want to close the borders. We want to get out of, the Latinos out and all of this and all of that. That is a lie. Okay? That is a lie, and that is nothing but spin doctrine what's really going on. You hear the Democrats in favor of immigration. What they're doing is they are politicking because each side, the Democrats and the Republicans, they want the Hispanics to back them. That's what they really want. Because if Trump really wanted to do something about all this, the illegals in this country, if he really wanted to do something, he could have done something. But he really don't want to because they are going to take over our spot, and then they are going to take over the Anglo spot, like they said, by 2050. So what are they going to do? Their numbers are dwindling. So what are they going to do with the Hispanics? You know what they're going to do with the Hispanics? I already know this. They are going to give them a seat at the table of when it comes to white supremacy racism. Okay? They're going to give them their letters. Okay? You got to shut off your Hispanic heritage and become a part of white supremacy racism. You got to become a part of that fraternity because they need numbers. And then what are black people going to do? You say, well, if the Hispanics are in danger of taking over the country, more Hispanics than black people in America, well, why don't you worry about getting rid of abortion? Do you think that's going to solve anything? Taking a woman's rights away? That's not going to solve anything. The Democrats and the Republicans are trying to, fight against Roe versus Wade. The woman's right to choose what she does with her own body. Do you know why? Because they are both worried about numbers. That is all. These Republicans, the reason why they want to abolish Roe versus Wade is because they know that their numbers are dwindling. Yes, the Hispanics don't like us off the rip. They want to overtake our spot. They're going to overtake our spot. You know why? Not even in numbers do they have to overtake our spot. They're going to overtake our spot because we are not united as a people. We do not support our own best interests across the board. That is how they're going to overtake our spot and surpass us. That's how they're going to do that. Even if it's more of them in 2050, they will never run the country of the United States of America. United States of America will burn it to the ground before they give it to the Hispanics. So what do they have to do? They have to allow themselves to be inducted into the fraternity of white supremacy racism, is which we will never be inducted into that fraternity. Because it's always going to come down to black and white in this country, no matter who else is here. No matter what ethnicity is here. No matter what. You're going to have to shed off all of that and become white. Just like they did white people at the inception of white supremacy racism. When they were forming that machine, you had to shed off your ethnic background, your ethnicity, your culture. You couldn't call yourself Italian or Scottish or German. You had to call yourself white. In an effort to uplift what do they call it? White power. So by 2050 or earlier, when there are more Hispanics in this country than black people, what are we going to? They already consider us non-producers. Where's that going to leave us? Because we refuse to unite together. If we continue to refuse to unite together, we will be destroyed. Do you think there will never be another Holocaust in this country? Do you think they can't put you in these FEMA camps and march you to these gas chambers? Do you think they can't do that? Yeah, and technically we're already third class citizens, Locust Queen. Oh, shit. Can y'all hear me? Hit the one if y'all can hear me, because I think my Wi-Fi is tripping, or either YouTube is tripping. One. Has this been an hour yet? I knew they was going to start tripping on me today about this. Can you hear me? If you can hear me, Brandy, hit the one. Did I get disconnected? Okay, y'all can hear me. Okay. Well, Let's Be Real says she can't hear me. Can you hear me now? Let's Be Real. See, they don't want me telling y'all what's really going on. Can you hear me now? Let's be real. Anybody, can you hear me now? Okay. Anyway, I'm going to shut this out. But I'm gonna finish this if I can. But I just really want y'all to know, peep game. We have to purge ourselves of these traitors in our circle before we can even think about taking on white supremacy. You're right about that, Clyde. I absolutely agree. All skin folk ain't kin folk. Ain't that what they say? And that's the truth. Now, we see it here on YouTube. YouTube is a microcosm of what's going on in this country. Do you see what I'm saying? You can't even have something like a predominantly black beef sector without Anglo interlopers. That's the same thing that's going on with these protesters when we are protesting for equal justice under the law. You got all these far right and far left, because that's what Donald Trump talking about, coming in and pretty much derailing your message. We are fighting for equal justice under the law. Even after all this time, we are still marching and protesting for that. Okay, which is not going to do a thing, but that's the only tool that we have. But they have taken that away from you, black people, and turned it into a shit show. That's why it always, erupts into violence. You got to peep game and see what's going on. Sadly, a majority will buy into the idea. I see it every day. Absolutely. Everything you do, they can adapt to it. They know you better than you know you. But what do? Instead of you trying to get to know your own, you adapt, you assimilate yourself into this white supremacy ideology mindset. That's what's wrong with black people. You got black people talking about, well, like I said earlier, we're not going to agree with I don't agree with reparations because A, B, C, and D. You don't agree with reparations because you're embarrassed of your blackness. You're embarrassed because you descended from slaves, and that is nothing to be embarrassed of. You're embarrassed of your own people when you set yourself apart and you think you got a little bit more than the next black person, and then you want to shout down black people that are socioeconomically depressed because the foot is on the man's back. Instead of lifting them up, you want to shout them down. See, that is why our skin folk ain't kinfolk. You can't protect your own because you too busy licking the eggplant emoji of the white man. That is the reason why we would never be able to solve anything in our black community as long as we have Anglo interlopers. Point blank, period. As long as you keep your ass twerking under this white supremacy ideology mindset, we will never be united as a people. It makes it so bad a lot of black people don't even want to be united with black people. See, it's one thing to get on here and roast and gag. It's another thing to take the stance of a white man. Like, how could you take the side of white male patriarchy? Like, how could you do that against your own people? Like, what is wrong with people? If I'm shouting you down, I'm shouting you down with a reason and with love. But never would I ever try to dox you or demean you on your socioeconomic status. Because you don't understand the larger concept. You don't understand what's going on in this country. It don't make sense to me. Do we have a leader in the community we can rally around to? No, we don't. No, we don't. But guess what, Golden Rule? The time has passed. The time has passed. It is not the time right now for us to be looking for one leader. You know why we can't have one leader? Because we're too divided. We've had one leaders before. What happened to those one leaders? What happened to Martin Luther King? What happened to Malcolm X? One leader is not gonna work for this community. Shoot, what happened to the Black Panthers? One leader is not gonna work. We have so much trauma that we have to deal with in this country. We can't be joined together by one leader. Look at what's even happened to once the church. The church used to be the bedrock of the black community. We even have, demons leading the freaking church. We can't be united under one leader. That's what's wrong with many countries in Africa right now. The person that is their leader or their tribe leader or their president of their country, whatever they want to call it, they are always having to deal with corruption because they're like shiny objects. You can't have one leader because your leader is not going to be for you 9 times out of 10 because he needs to prove himself. Or if he is for you, they're going to kill him. Thank you, Andrea. You have a nice day too. So you have to really realize what's going on. Let's be real, said right. We are too ready to assimilate when we should stand proud because we are incredible overcomers who haven't even tapped into our true power. You're absolutely right. You are absolutely right. Families are going to argue with each other. That's what we're going to do. But you have to have some chill when it comes to stuff like this. A lot of people say, well, we don't have, the money in the black community to create our own party, to advocate for ourselves. That is a lie. Yes, we do. It is just that we don't trust each other to the point to where that will never come to fruition. We do have the money to create our own party. We can do the same thing the Tea Party did. We can do the same thing the birther movement, which is led by Donald Trump, did when Obama became president. We can do the same thing in this country, but we refuse. We refuse to unify under the banner, under the banner of Black power, of pro-blackness. We refuse to unite under that alone. We refuse to unite under the fact that we are all melanated people. We refuse. So no, we can't have one leader. It's not possible. It's not. It's too easily corruptible because your mindset, your mindset is focused on white supremacy. That's why we can't have one leader. Klaus said the fact is that we have always had a leader. Unfortunately, refused to follow his laws. That's why we're being punished now. The Almighty God. I absolutely agree, Klaus. We turned away from that. We turned away from that. And have we ever even really embraced the Most High Creator as a people, as a chosen people? Have we even ever really embraced that fact here in this country? No. No, you know why? Because they tell you that you bad, and you believe it. They tell you that you less than, and you believe it. They tell you if you assimilate into this white supremacy mindset, you're going to be okay, and you believe it. So yeah, we turned our back away. And until we prostrate ourselves in front of the Most High God, we're never going to be free throughout the diaspora. I agree with you on that, Cloud. I absolutely agree. But for right now, we can't even unite under the power of being pro-black. Pro-black is a bad word in certain circles. What does pro-black mean? What do I say? It has been manipulated by a lot of these groups that say they are black first or pro-black. It has been manipulated to the point to where black people don't even support being pro-black. I don't know why, but you'll support white supremacy. You'll support white power, but you won't support black power. We're never going to get anywhere in this country until we do that. That is ridiculous to me. But anyway, my hour's up. But there was nothing to dissect, in my opinion, in my closing arguments when it comes to this debate, because it was all a farce. It was a shit show. I am not freaking impressed. But one thing for certain, two things for sure, is we need to get Donald Trump out of office, even if we have to deal with Joe Biden, in my opinion. I don't see how you can be black in America and support Donald Trump. Like, that don't, like, you're going to support a white supremacist? You're going to support somebody that thinks nothing of you at all? I don't understand that. I don't understand why we can't unite under the banner that we need to protect our own first, and we need to look out for our own best interest first. First, can you at least get along when it comes to, defending ourselves? We can't even do that. We refuse to do that because a lot of us are blind. I'm not talking about petty arguments. I'm talking about the overall best interest of your people. It behooves you. It should behoove you to want to be united with your own people, to protect yourself. Every other race of people does that. They unite. You got Trump. It's a perfect example. You got him talking about the far right and the far left. At the end of the day, if it was some kind of radical movement for us, the far right and the far left, they would be on the same team against us. Think about that. See how fast the far right and the far left will click up against us if we ever became united. Absolutely some a serious work. The Democratic Party, honey, it's on life support. You see what I'm saying? It's on life support. It really is. Like it really is. You know, we know that we're not gonna act like we didn't know. We don't know that the Democratic Party really or the Republican Party, was never really for us anyway. Once we were Republicans, then it shifted to where we were Democrats. That is assimilation. Because when we're switching back and forth between parties, what we didn't do was stop right there in the middle and create our own party. But we know that anytime we try to create something to bring about black empowerment in any way in this country, it is knocked down. We have a whole lot of examples of that. Look at Tulsa, Oklahoma. What happened? What happened to Black Wall Street? They don't want your black dollar to circulate in your community because that garners generational wealth. That garners power. That's right. Many people believe that we need to do away with the two-party system. You're absolutely right. We got a whole black caucus up there in Washington that does nothing. You know why? It's because we don't stand behind them as a united front. They have no power. They're just sitting there like figurines or something, really doing nothing at all because we don't stand behind them. We already have a system in place. We don't stand behind that system. We do not stand behind it. But if I tell you one thing, if we don't do something soon, the Hispanics are going to come in and they're going to squash us down below them. Then what's going to happen? They already consider us non-producers in this country. What's going to happen then? I bet you when it's enough of them, their own party will spring up. Their own party will spring up. You best believe that. You got AOC over there, setting up. Yes, we're doomed, Natasha. You got her over there leading a freaking charge without people, nobody even saying anything about it. She's showing her strength and leadership because she wants to leave her party. And I'm talking about that Alexandria Ocasio Cortez, that female. But people are not paying attention. Look, you better look and see what's going on because we are doomed. They're moving across the chessboard, them Hispanics are moving they're plotting their Okay. Can y'all hear me? Can you hear me, Brandy?
Let me
Am I
drop
live?
it.
Okay. Can y'all hear me? Oh, I can hear me. Okay, I'm live again. All right, guys. I don't know why my stream got. If you guys are still in the room, let me close and say you guys have a nice day. YouTube completely knocked me off stream. VM says it's been happening to others since last night. Thank you, VM. I don't know what happened. Thank you guys for sticking on here and allowing me a chance to say goodbye and have a nice day. You guys have a safe day. I'm going to do another video in a little while. I guess I'll do it from my phone, but I just really wanted to give my reaction to the whole fiasco of our first 2020 presidential debate. And before it kicks me off again, let me say I love you guys. Please hit that like button, that share button, that subscribe button. Love you guys. Vote 2020 because we have to get Trump out of office by any means necessary. I'm going to talk to you guys a little later. Try to come back with some mess. But for now, bye-bye. Peace.